The final edition of the show is on this morning between now and 8:30, where we're going to be taking you around the world from the local, the African, and the international scene. We're going to be keeping you up to speed with all the latest stories on the continent, of course. And for fans of the Global Premier League, well, it's getting hotter, it's getting intense as we move into week number 26 of the Premier League. It's only 5 matches to go, and already Brecum Chelsea having a 3-point lead. Football expert, of course, Herbert Adu tipping Brecum Chelsea to go all the way, but with Chelsea coming up against Accra Hearts of Oak here at the Accra Sports Stadium, everything could go pretty interesting, and they would also keep you up to speed with other stories on the local scene. Quite a number of stories are linked to the fabulous club Kumasi Asante Kotoko. We understand that on Wednesday some of their fans ended up acting in a way that was unacceptable. We're going to be speaking to a member of the communications team of the club, Jerome Archer, on all these issues that have come up since Wednesday. And we also understand that a former player of the club has accused some of the current playing body of getting into drinking. Is that really the case? Well, players always go out and have a good time after games, like we get to see in England and in most of the European leagues. But does it affect their output on the pitch? We'll be bringing you all that and more. The National Player Awards is also coming up. We understand that Guinness has already come on board. We'll be speaking to the convener of the games, Ket Okriku, later on in the show. And of course, I will be doing some boxing bets because yesterday the various committees of the Ghana Boxing Authority were sworn into office. But a major issue of contention having to do with officials and their performance in the ring over the last few weeks. And incidentally, one of the officials, match official referee Roger Bano, we understand, has been suspended. We caught up with the FA GBA president, lawyer Peter Zwenes, who threw further insight into that. We'll be going on the continent and bringing you all the latest in there, as well as in Europe, where the English FA Cup is coming up tomorrow. It's going to be between Man City and Wigan. So pretty packed show coming your way this morning. We'll be back after this break. I'm sure you're looking forward to what's coming up in the sporting tabloids this morning. I have the graphic sports, the 90 minutes, the Kumasi Asante Kotoko Express, and of course, the Hearts news. And as usual, we begin with the graphic sports on the front page of the paper. You have exit Fergie, enter Moyes. Well, that has been confirmed by the hierarchy of Manchester United Football Club. David Moyes on a 6-year contract, and he will be taking over when the old man, 71-year-old Scott, Sir Alex Ferguson, moves up to take a position as a director. David Luiz is going to be featured on our lifestyle page later this morning, and your 5 million offer for Mubarak Wakasi. We'll be bringing you all that story and more, together with a story on the May 9th disaster 12 years ago. Very sad scenes at the Accra Sports Stadium. Quite a number of fans, up to 126, we are told, losing their lives. We move on, and we move to the lifestyle page of the paper, and guess who we're featuring? That man, Chelsea centre-half David Luiz. Well, he's seen here having fun with family, with friends, and well, he's an avid fan of video games, we are told, as he's seen here with another Brazilian teammate in the camp of the Blues, Oscar, doing their own thing. Party boy. David Luiz is called the Joker, and a very interesting phrase in that write-up on the Chelsea lad. He's 6 feet 2 inches, but we are made to understand that his hair makes him 6 feet and 5 inches. Interesting. So that's it for the lifestyle page of the graphic sports. We move on to the center spread, and these are pictures of our matches played in the major European leagues in the course of the week. There were midweek action in England and in Spain. Real Madrid getting a result against Malaga by 6-2. That game ended, and of course there are pictures from the game involving Chelsea and Spurs from the bridge, and it's that man who's been courted by so many clubs in Europe, Edinson Cavani, who plays for Napoli in the Italian Serie A. So many clubs courting those player to sign for them next season, and he scores goals for fun. So grab a copy of the Graphic Sports and get to read a lot more on the stories on the back page of the paper. Your violence at the Babaya Sports Stadium, in a story by Kwame Asare-Bwedu. Like I said, we'll be speaking to the communications director of the club, one of the communication directors of the club, Jerome Archer, later in the show to explain to us the circumstances under which this occurred and what exactly led to these incidents in the first place. So all that and more in the Graphic Sports. Make your way to the sporting stands and get a copy of the Graphic Sports. We move on to the 90 minutes. And you bet the 90 minutes would always adorn its front pages with the biggest stars in the sport. On the front page of the paper, Michael Akufu is there. Christian Achu is also there. Cristiano Ronaldo is also there as well, together with quite a number of other top stars. Robin Van Persie, Kojo Asamoah is also in the mix, and former girlfriend of Mario Balotelli at this point, Fanny Niguesha, is also in the mix as well. And what's it about Didier Drogba and Galatasaray? Well, he's champion in Turkey. Galatasaray winning their 19th Superliga in Turkey. And Sir Alex Ferguson, well, he's not going to be in the dugout for Manchester United come season 2013, season 2014. It's going to be a setting David Moyes. So that's it for the front page of the 90 minutes. Quite a number of stories on the other pages on Ghanaian players. But we move to the center spread. And 90 minutes I've chosen to dedicate their center page this morning to that man, Sir Alex Ferguson. 38 trophies in 26 years at Manchester United. 49 trophies if you ask what he did with Aberdeen as well. Some say he is the best club manager of all time because, I mean, it's understandable. No manager, I would want to believe, will be staying at one particular club for up to 27 years, especially in these days where it's so demanding on the business side. It's rarely going to happen, and I doubt whether we're going to be seeing one manager stay at the club for so long a time and win so much laurels for them. Sir Alex Ferguson celebrated by the 90 minutes this morning. Grab a copy of the 90 minutes and get to see a lot more of Sir Alex Ferguson and his time with the Reds. We move on to another club who also the Reds here in Ghana. That's Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And on the front page of the paper, there are pictures of the game involving Kotoko and Mediama Sporting Club in the course of the week. Kotoko must back up. That's what the fans are demanding. 2 successive draws, and if you think about the fact that Kotoko would have been on top of the log going into match day 26 if they had gotten a result against Accra Hearts of Oak and against Mediama, the fans are clearly not happy with their performance in their last 2 games. Kotoko must back up. And remembering May 9th, and this is a flashback of what transpired on that day, and I would always want to stress that I was there. I just managed to make my way out of the stadium at a hair's breadth. And I would always thank God for helping me out. And the policemen in there, some have been blamed for all that transpired on the day. But hey, 12 years down the line, well, I think a lot of people have moved on, and we thank God for our lives. So that's it on the front page of the paper. Let's look at the center spread of the paper and what the Kumasi Asante Kotoko Express has for us. Pictures by David Che, and these are pictures of the game between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Mediama Football Club, Mediama Sporting Club. They are known in Ghana. Kumasi Asante Kotoko failing to get all 3 points on the afternoon. Mediama also in a reckoning for the Globe Premier League. So get a copy of the Kumasi Asante Kotoko Express and get to read a lot more. On the back page of the paper, you have fans allowed management over May 9 service. And these are scenes from the Accra Sports Stadium where team manager Godwin Ablodi, who happened to be the skipper of Kumasi Asante Kotoko on that Saturday in 2001, leading his charges before the game against Accra Hearts of Oak, coming out with some flowers and well, it was all pretty memorable on that day. The frequent draws must end, and I was looking at the league log and realized that Kumasi Asante Kotoko had won 10 of their 25 matches. They've drawn 13 of the 25 matches so far and have lost only 2, but still not good enough to get them to the top of the log. So that's it for the Kotoko Express. And finally, with the Hearts news, on the front page of the paper, you have Hearts on rampage. Chelsea would fall on Sunday. There you have it. Hearts on rampage. Mahatma Otu is there. Gilbert Fiamenyo is also in the mix. Moro is there. Well, these are feisty characters in the camp of Accra Hearts of Oak. They make things happen for the Phobians. And you have superstition at its best. And there is, incidentally, the picture that we did see on the back page of the Kumasi Asante Kotoko Express being replicated here by the Phobians, clearly seeing this in a different light. And you have the Kotoko Ochi, and there is a goat with the colors of the Porcupine Warriors, and you have caught red-handed. Is this the Kotoko way of laying a wreath? I'll keep my comments about this to myself. Okay, so that's it for the front page of the Hearts news. The center spread of the paper, you have Hearts crash RTU. Accra Hearts will getting a result against Royal Tamale United in midweek. 4-0. That game ended, and there are some pictures of the match together with a report of what transpired in Tamale on the day. So that's it for the center spread of the Hearts news. And finally, to the back page of the paper. And again, those are pictures being replicated on the back of the Hearts news. You have superstition at its best. And that picture seems to be trending. If you ask me, there's a Kotoko team led by Gordon Ablodi, who happened to be the skipper of the team in 2001 when Kotoko lost that game by 2-1. And there are some pictures that the Hearts cameraman seemed to have caught a goat here with a flag of Kotoko around it. And do I see something like a Bible, I think? And there is another book that I'm not too sure what exactly it is, but you have caught red-handed. Is this a Kotoko way of laying a wreath, or the spiritual Kotoko? Ochi. And there's a goat in the mix. All right, so that's it for the sporting tabloids. Make your way to the newsstands and get to see a lot more of the stories that we've brought to you in the tabloid section of the show. We move on now, and yesterday was a very sad day, of course, in the history of Ghana football. In 2001, on May the 9th, up to 126 fans losing their lives. So many other people also injured on that day. There were various occasions that were marked to celebrate this particular occasion. And, our cameras was able to follow quite a number of these fans to the Accra Sports Stadium on the day. And we bring you some highlights of what transpired on the day.
We all have to comport ourselves when it comes to supporting our team. Do you understand? When the referee on the park made a mistake, we supporters should not do anything that will cause any harm to us. But at least we should calm down. Then after the match, we see how to solve all these issues.
Just Sunday, Asante Kotoko played. You can see that the fans are misbehaving. And I pray that next time they should comport themselves so that we come together as one umbrella.
I wasn't at the stadium, but actually I was at home watching. So the events that I saw, I'm not planning on anybody that is at home that should continue, should help so that this thing should stop. So we, Nationwide Supporters Union, we are here to support those people. We are here to mourn them. So we hope that this thing will send a worldwide message to everybody.
We are not learning from our lessons, because with the scene of what happened 3 days ago or 4 days ago when Kotoko again and Accra played their match here at Accra Sports Stadium. What happened at the stands over there? You can see some people throwing pure water, Baltic cans and stuff on the stadium, it means what happened on that very day means that our people did not learn from their lessons. So we need to, learn from our lessons so that we can encourage our members not to do that in stadium, which is not good.
Right. So what are you doing as a leader of the group? Because you have various leaders of the supporters unions. What are you doing to ensure that these fans obviously understand that they need to be calm no matter the result?
Well, Nationwide Supporters Group of Ghana, we have many leaders, and I'm one of their communicators. Anytime we go to meeting, because of we are fans, we are supporters that we normally go and check Ghana Black Stars at the sports stadium. We normally teach our members how to comport themselves at the stadium. And we know the more we teach them, the more they will comport themselves at the stadium. And we know, inshallah, the improvement will come. And don't forgetting, basically, out of 25 of our members lost their lives in this May 9th disaster, even including my elder brother. Lost his life at the May 9th disaster. So that makes us to learn more. So we still teach them, and we know we come to whatever we want to achieve in future in Ghana football.
So my colleague George Arrow, following the Nationwide Supporters Union, they put together quite a number of activities yesterday at the Accra Sports Stadium, and George are speaking to some of the fans of that particular group. Very, very sad story in the history of Ghana football. Hopefully that would never happen again. So stay in Ghana, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko are in the news. And what's the story about them this time? Well, this has to do with an unfortunate incident that we're told happened at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium on Wednesday. Now, Kotoko fans are rioting in Mediama stalemate. Now, Mediama have been attacked by Irish supporters of Kotoko after a Premier League game just a day before Ghana marks the 12th anniversary of the May 9th disaster. Obviously, this happening on Wednesday. Now, the Porcupine Warriors were held at home by the Mauves and Yellows in the biggest match of midweek. Now, incensed by their slip at home, Irish supporters of the club went bananas and vented their anger on match officials, whom they accused of bias officiating against their club. Missiles were thrown at centre referee Salah Zokine and his two assistants Mumuni Isaka and Richard Kote, and had to take the intervention of the police detailed at the venue to whisk them away into the dressing room. Now, some of the furious supporters refused to leave the stadium as they waited to teach referee Okine and his men a lesson. Now, an attempt by the police to whisk the officials into the bars of the visitors was met by stiff resistance, resulting in the throwing of stones and other missiles, which smashed the windscreen of the Mediama bars and hit some of the players in a scary episode. Now, Mediama duo Samuel Samsing and Samson Kujo were also questioned by the police following an alleged bust-up with some security personnel in a flash point. And if you ask me, this is simply unacceptable. This should not be happening in Ghana. When it comes to matches being played at the Globe Premier League. Very, very unfortunate scenes, if you ask me. And we're still staying with Kumasi Asante Kotoko because the former player of the team has accused some of the players of taking to drinking. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko legend Safu Jemfi says players of the club have to stop indulging in alcohol whilst playing for the club. Now, he told Kumasi-based Fox FM that the club's players would need to be advised against drinking, especially when invited by supporters of the club. Now, Jemfi, who is a former management member of the club, also told Fox FM that some supporters had even told players in his presence that they had bought drinks for them, adding that some players even secretly send others to get the drinks for them. Now, fans of Kotoko remain upset that the Porcupine Warriors have drawn their last two games against Accra Hearts of Oak and Mediama Sporting Club. We still stay in the camp of the Porcupine Warriors, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko will be making an off-season bid for Sewi sports striker Mandela Okansi, according to reports in the local press. Now, the Ghanaian has emerged as one of the stars of the Ivorian club surge into the group stages of the CAF Champions League. Now, Okansi, who trained alongside Ghana internationals Harrison Afful and Awal Mohammed during his time at Fete Feyenoord, is now stirring interest in the Ghanaian Premier League champions. Now, Kotoko have made their striking department a priority for improvement at the end of the current campaign, and are now ready to make a bid for the 23-year-old. Okansi spent 4 seasons at Asfa Yenega, during which period he won the Burkina Faso top flight with the club. He later moved to Tunisian club Club Sportif Sfaxien on loan before joining Sewi Sports in 2012. We're still staying in the camp of Kumasi Asante Kotoko because Asante Kotoko claim that their move to sign Accra Heart of Oak striker Mahatma Otu was informed by a hint from the player's camp that he is willing to join the Reds. Now, the Ghana Premier League champions will be meeting the Accra Heart of Oak captain in the coming days to offer him a bumper contract. Now, the yet-to-be-capped Ghana international is out of contract with the Phobians at the end of the season. Now, an official of Kotoko, who are determined to sign the captain of their arch-rivals, now says their desire to capture Otu is being foiled by information close to the player, which suggests that he's ready to join the Porcupine Warriors. Now, Otu has been in good goal-scoring form and is the current leading marksman in the Ghanaian Premier League. We are going to be going on the phones shortly to speak to Jerome Archer, who is a member of the communications team of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So many things happening around the club in the course of the week. And Jerome, I understand, has now joined me on the line as he addresses these problems. Jerome, good morning.
Good morning, Kwame.
And thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's begin with what transpired on Wednesday. I'm sure you followed that particular story on the various platforms, and I believe you were probably in Kumasi as well. What exactly happened in that game against the Mediama Sporting Club?
Well, I think that you probably know everything already, but the fact is that the game traveled smoothly, apart from a few decisions by the referee, which I think were problematic. Everything traveled smoothly until the last minute when the referee blew his whistle for the end of proceedings. Spectators at the stadium started throwing objects onto the field, targeted at the referee. And let's be very clear here, the match was shown on TV, so everybody saw what happened, especially those who watched the game. And then I wasn't in the changing rooms, but I also hear that some spectators or some of the people at the stadium who found their way inside some of the rooms also attacked the referee, and the referee was kept indoors for almost 2 hours. Now, outside the stadium, we had some of the fans also engaging the police because they wanted to get the referee and do whatever they wanted to do. But the police, as you know, were there to keep order, to ensure that there was order. And so there was some kind of a clash between the police and the spectators. In the event, I heard, and I'm saying I heard because I didn't see it happen. But later I saw pictures of the Mediama bars and their window, I think parts of the bars or the windows broken. And I also heard that 2 Mediama players were arrested. Later, as I was making my way out of the stadium, I saw Samuel Nzimamba especially, because I can identify him. He's been a former Kotoko player. And I saw him in one of the police vehicles. When I inquired, the information I was given was that he and one other player who I do not know engaged the police in a very unfriendly manner, and that the police took took those 2 players to the police station.
Well, Jerome, for a bit of clarification here. Keeping the referee for up to 2 hours in the dressing room and some of the fans also finding their way into the dressing room. Now, that would not happen in any professional league system. How on earth do fans find their way to the dressing room? Where was the security on match day?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a question organizers of the league must answer, because if you have people who are not supposed to be where they were, doing what they are not even supposed to do, then we really have problems with our league. I cannot say for a fact that those people were spectators or were people who were supposed to be where they were at that time. What I'm hearing from match officials of the game was that the referee was attacked by those people who found their way there. As to whether they were supposed to be there and they did what they did, or they were not supposed to be there and they still did what they did, I think this is something that organizers of the league or stakeholders of the game must sit down and establish and put the issue where it's supposed to be.
Jerome, you mentioned the fact that the league was on TV. Well, the game was on TV. I saw the game. Do you think that your club's push or fight for the Premier League title on the back of the 2 draws that you've had in the last 2 games is getting some of the fans, frustrated and agitated? That is why they will choose to vent their spleen on the match officials?
Well, there are 2 issues here. Number one, I think that Kotoko sincerely could have taken control or could have been in charge of events on the field if we had taken our chances. I mean, we had a few chances that on any good day, any good team should utilize, but we didn't do that, and that, in my opinion, was the main reason we couldn't beat Mediama, or was the main reason we drew. But looking at the other side, and that's the second issue, there are reasons to also believe that the referee didn't do his work well, and I do not want to blame him too much, except to say that I have watched 4 or 5 Kotoko matches officiated by this referee, and every one of those 5 matches has ended controversially. And it cannot be coincidence. It cannot just happen that one referee always handles a certain team's match, and there is always a problem. If you remember, the last time Silasokai handled the Kotoko match, it ended without the 2 teams kicking the ball, and that was when at the pre-match, he approved the jerseys to be used by the 2 teams, Kotoko against Arsenal, only to change his mind on the field to say that he cannot identify the jerseys he had approved at the pre-match. And some of these things do not give some of us the confidence that Silasokai has what it takes to be handling our matches. And I wouldn't want to blame him for the draw, because I think that we could have easily won the match if we had taken our chances. But we also cannot overlook the fact that some of his decisions on the day was just bad.
And Jerome, before you take leave of us, there's also a story that is trending pretty much in Kumasi concerning accusations leveled against some of the playing body by a former management member and player of your club, Safu Jemfi. He's said to have accused some of your players of taking to drinking on a radio station in Kumasi. What do you make of this story?
Well, I think it's completely ridiculous. This is not something I would want to even think of.
You don't want to believe that these things happen?
Not at all, because I have been with most of our players throughout, and I cannot even think of it happening. It's something that people say, particularly when they are disappointed or when they are frustrated, and we hear them. Maybe the fact that it's coming from a former player and management member of the club gives it weight, but clearly this is not something that will happen in our club.
You have a game against Arsenal coming up this weekend. Arsenal find themselves in the relegation zone. That game is not going to be an easy one for you.
Absolutely. I mean, Arsenal, despite their current state, is always strong. I mean, it's going to be strong at the Golden City Park. Kotoko, we've always found it difficult beating them, and we really are going to have a tough challenge breaking them. What gives me some bit of hope is the fact that our boys are determined. They saw how our supporters reacted on Wednesday, and I'm sure that is going to propel them to fight Arsenal. And if security at the stadium, officiating will be what we expect or what must be, I do not see Arsenal winning this game. I say security and officiating because anytime Kotoko had played Arsenal at Brekum, problems come up. And I believe that it is getting to a time in this country where we overlook certain things. Those things happen, and we come back and complain. The Brekum Golden City Park has always been a center for disruptions. The last time Kotoko went there were disruptions. And I am pleading with the PLB and the FA that they should keep an eye on this game, because for us it's crucial, for Arsenal it's crucial, and everything must be done to ensure that this game travels smoothly.
Jerome, we wish you all the best on Sunday, and thank you so much for making time to speak to us.
Thank you very much.
Jerome Archer is a member of the Communications Directorate of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, explaining the issues on the club this morning. Well, I'm sure for the fans of Kotoko and beyond, hopefully this has clarified the issues enough. Let's now get to see the matches that are coming up in the Globe Premier League later this weekend. The biggest one, of course, that game between Accra Hearts of Oak and Brekum Chelsea. For me, it's a league decider, one of the matches that could decide the league come match day 30. Amida's Professionals are up against the Diana Stars. Ken Faisal are up against Ash Gold. Pandu Heart of Lions will be playing. Well, Pandu Heart of Lions are also coming up later this weekend. Well, they are up against Amida's Professionals. Now, that game between Amida's Professionals and the Diana Stars was honored on Thursday. That was yesterday, of course, and Mediana Stars would also be playing Liberty Professionals. Arsenal will be playing Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Mediama Sporting Club will play Real Tamale United. Accra Heart of Oak will play Brekum Chelsea. For me, the biggest match of the weekend. And Tema Youth will be playing Wa All Stars. Big games coming up in the Globe Premier League this weekend. Let's move to some stories of national importance now, and we're looking at the National Player Awards that is coming up pretty shortly. That is going to be put together by Ket Okreku and his team. Hopefully, we'll be getting to speak to Ket as well on this particular story. Now, we are made to understand that Guinness Breweries Limited has taken up the headline sponsorship of the second edition of the National Player Awards. Now, the decision by the GBL to lend support to the awards that honor deserving national football heroes and heroines in the country is in line with its policy to support excellence in sports. Ket Okreku, the executive officer of Proton Sports Services, organizers of the NPA, in an interview says that the company believed they were supporting a worthy cause. Now, the NPA had also received endorsement from the Ministry of Youth and Sport and Sports with the sector minister, the Honourable Elvis Afriye Anka, pledging the ministry's commitment to the event. Now, the NPA, which was instituted last year, is a collaboration between Proton Sports Services and the Retired National Footballers Association of Ghana, which is RENFAC, as a way of honouring the heroes and heroines of the past, as well as the present-day generation for their exploits in the various national teams. Hopefully, we're going to be getting to speak to Ket Okreku later on in the show as we build up to this particular event. It's always very important that we get to appreciate what our heroes have done for us in the past and get to reward them rather than choosing to wait till they are in such a state where we can't really do much for them. And the latest on the FIFA ranking is also out. Now, Ghana remains the second highest rated African country by FIFA, while retaining their 22nd place in the global ranking released by the world governing body for May yesterday. Now, the Black Stars took that position in the previous ranking as they held on for the second consecutive month with their point build up at 874 points. Now, Kwesi Appiah's team are still ranked second on the African continent behind Ivory Coast with Mali in third place. Now, with little changes, the top three in the world rankings remain the same from last month's as champions Spain hold on to the number one spot ahead of Germany and Argentina. Now, the May edition of the world ranking recorded very few changes compared to the previous month. According to FIFA, more movement is expected in the table in June when the World Cup qualifiers resume in Africa and teams that qualified for the FIFA Confederations Cup play their first warm-up games. Let's now move on to some news on Ghanaian players now. And Mubarak Wakasu is in the news, and Rubin Kazan are said to be ready to pay up to $5 million for Ghana international Mubarak Wakasu from Spanish side Espanyol. Now, the Russian giants have officially sent in the offer ahead of the summer window. Wakasu's future at the Cornea El Prat has been speculated since featuring at the 2013 African Cup of Nations. Now, he scored 4 goals to emerge joint top scorer with Nigerian Emmanuel Emenike at the African Cup of Nations. Now, the left-footed midfielder has been linked with Barcelona, where reports say he will be signed as a replacement for Alex Song. Now, Espanyol are only prepared to listen to offers within the range of $30 million. Wow. Wakasu has 4 years remaining on his contract with Espanyol, but has stated that he would like to see out his contract. But a lucrative club deal could get the player switching sides. We still stay in Spain, and this time around we are looking at a setting Michael Essien. Now, Michael Essien is said to have emerged among 2 players at Real Madrid who manager Jose Mourinho absolutely trusts. Now, the Ghanaian international, alongside goalkeeper Diego Lopez and midfielder Luka Modric, are currently the only players in the good books of the Portuguese trainer. Even relationships amongst compatriots Cristiano Ronaldo, Fabio Contrao, and Pepe and the iconic Real Madrid manager have broken down. Now, thus the revelation serves further proof of the Ghana midfielder's unblemished loyalty wherever he finds himself. Now, Essien has been refused to be drawn in the politics of the Spanish giants, with many others taking sides against the manager. Mourinho is currently battling what appears a player war between himself and legendary goalkeeper Iker Casillas. We still stay with that story connected in a way, because a certain Fabrice Mwamba is coming to Ghana, and what is he going to be in the country to do? Now, ex-footballer Fabrice Mwamba will be visiting Ghana next month to attend the charity event organized by Ghana midfielder Michael Essien. Now, the 25-year-old shot up to worldwide fame after escaping death following a cardiac arrest while in action for bolting. Now, the former England youth star was actually pronounced medically dead for more than 78 minutes, with his heart failing to function within that period. Now, Mwamba, however, miraculously regained consciousness and weeks later made a triumphant departure from the coronary care unit of the London Chest Hospital. He lives to tell the story of how he escaped death and will now come face-to-face with Ghanaians at the Michael Essien's Game of Hope Inspiration on June the 8th at the Accra Sports Stadium. A musical concert featuring multiple American award winner Wyclef Jean follows the game at the same venue. From Fabrice Mwamba, we move to the skipper of the senior national team of the Black Stars. And the Black Stars skipper Yaya Samoajan is set to build a soccer academy in Ghana and help to develop and polish raw talents in the country and beyond. Now, Samoajan's reps and chief executive of Baby Jet Promotions, Samuel Enim Adu, revealed that the academy will be named after the El Ain star, while the school, which will also be built, will be named after Jan's mother, Cecilia Love Amakun, who passed away last year. Now, according to Inimadu, the academy will help unearth fresh talent, adding that apart from the needy, interested applicants will be required to pay a smaller fee to enter the academy. Meanwhile, Adu has rubbished media reports linking Samoajan away from his current club to Europe, adding that he's happy where he is and he's focusing on his football. From Samoajan, we move on to another player who features pretty regularly for the senior national team, and this time around we are looking at Isaac Vossa. Now, what is the story on this defender? Now, Ghanaian defender Isaac Vossa could be ruled out of up to 6 months after sustaining a knee injury whilst playing for Red Bull Salzburg in midweek in the Austrian Samsung Cup against Pashing. Now, the 24-year-old was replaced by Stefan Ilzanka in the 64th minute after a challenge with a Passion player. Now, a preliminary test revealed that he might have suffered a tear in his knee cruciate ligament. Now, Ghana is scheduled to play Lesotho and Sudan in the 2014 World Cup qualifiers in June, and the injury, if finally confirmed by officials of Red Bulls, would rule him out of these games. Now, talking over the absence of Isaac Vossa to the senior national team, one player might just get a looking into the senior national team on the back of this particular story. Now, injury to Ghana defender Isaac Vossa could force a return of John Mensah Well, John Mensah is a former skipper of the Black Stars after staying out for over a year from international football. Now, the ex-Ghana captain has battled fitness issues and relative inactivity since playing his last game for the Black Stars in a 1-0 draw with Chile in 2012 after the Nations Cup in Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. Now, Mensah has, however, managed to return to regular top-flight European football with French club Stade Rennais. He has played 2 consecutive games for the Ligue 1 side, putting him back in the frame for Black Stars' return while he continues to prove his fitness. We're staying in France, and this time around we're looking at another player who has been featuring for the Black Stars since 2007, and this time around we're looking at Andre Dede Ayew. Now, Marseille playmaker Andre Ayew has head back at Lorient key midfielder Gregory Bouillon, who implied that the Ghanaian international is not disciplined. Bouillon slammed the Ghanaian international after the latter was sent off during the match between the two sides last week. Ayew was sent off near the end of last week's match, claiming he attempted to separate players from both sides who were fighting, but Lorient said Ayew was at the heart of the fight. Bouillon suggested that French football fraternity was not surprised by the sending off of Ayew because of his disciplinary record. Ayew was banned for 1 match for the incident that saw him being sent off in that game. He avoided the 4-match ban as he was not found guilty of violent conduct. Well, I don't know Andre Dede Ayew to be an indisciplined player, but, well, some of these things happen in club football, and we're still staying with Ghanaian internationals, and this time around we are jetting to South Africa, and we're talking about Awal Mohammed. Now, Maritzburg United have received an official bid from Kaizer Chiefs for the services of their Ghanaian midfielder Awal Mohammed. Now, the 25-year-old was called into the club's offices this week to inform the strong centre-back on the offer on the table. Now, the Soccer Laduma has reported that United chairman Farouk Kadu summoned the player on Tuesday and told him that the Amakosi have submitted an official offer. Chiefs have stepped up their bid to gazump their Soweto rivals, the London Pirates, for the signature of the player, following a long-term injury suffered by Morgan Gold. United are studying the proposal before deciding whether or not to give permission to approach the player. And that was a story on Awal Mohammed for you. And from Awal Mohammed, we jet back to Italy. And this time around, we are looking at Kevin Prince Boateng. Now, what's the story on Kevin Prince Boateng? We understand that Kevin Prince Boateng is set to quit AC Milan Football Club. And according to reports in Italy, Milan and Boateng are prepared for a parting of ways, as Enforcer is dismayed by the lack of a defined role under manager Massimiliano Allegri this season. Boateng has been one of the most positive additions on a whole during Allegri's 3-year reign as Milan coach. His performances in 2012-2013 have been largely underwhelming. Now, Boateng would also prefer to be used in an offensive role, but he's been utilized in a number of positions by Allegri in his 33 appearances this season, leading the 26-year-old to become disillusioned by his coach's rotation policy. Now, former club Tottenham are said to have maintained an interest in the player, who they originally signed from Hertha Berlin in 2007. We'll get to see where Kevin Prince Boateng stays at the end of the season. We're still staying in the sport of football, but this time around we're looking at a slightly different football game, and this one is beach soccer, one of the sports that is rapidly growing in here in Ghana. Yesterday, we had the opportunity of speaking to the acting PRO of the Ghana Beach Soccer Association, Ni Bonnie, who was a guest on Sports Night, and he was telling us about how Ghana is on the verge of making it to the World Cup if they go through the African qualifiers. Nilai was on our sports program, Sports Night, yesterday. Let's have a listen to what he had to say about that.
Goalkeepers in beach soccer are very good goalkeepers, unlike association football, where the ball can bounce and you can still have a hand on it. This one, when it bounces, it changed direction totally.
For association football, for example, you get, technical people who guide footballers along the line. I'm not sure it's any different from, beach soccer as well, but do we have that level of technical expertise here who are churning out the talents like we want?
Exactly. A couple of months ago, we had a FIFA instructor from Oman who came to train a couple of us, about 20 of us, and we were only 2 player coaches in that game. We had our course and pram. So we have coaches here who are FIFA certified, who have the license to coach beach soccer teams in Ghana here.
And what kind of training programs do you go through? Because I know most of these gentlemen who are involved in the sport are probably not paid that much. So that if you want to come and run courses in Ghana, for example, they would have to be extremely motivated to even come for these training courses in the first place.
Actually, this has been a long-term plan for the Beach Soccer Association since 2007 when we were pushing up to it. So in 2011, we had a chance of getting it into it and then having the FIFA instructor to come here. So they brought a whole lot of equipment for us, beeps, football, cones and other things. And also they brought us the rules of the game. They got a series of training programs, which every participant have it. They got us T-shirts, to be able to train with and do practicals right after the classroom work. And so we've gone far more than we even thought we would be. And at the rate at which we are growing, man, the sky is our limit.
Passionate about it.
Yes.
Being motivated to go on is one thing. Your passion and that intrinsic motivation in you, because again, it's going to boil down to some money at the end of the day, and at the end I'm not too sure how regularly the money comes in.
Yeah, the money doesn't come in regularly, but then it has to depend on you, the individual, or you, the manager who is managing that team. I can talk for Layoka because I'm from Layoka point of view, and we tell the guys that, hey guys, today there's no money, tomorrow there will be money. In a sense that if you play well, then you can get an investor who will come and say, oh guys, I like the way you play, I'm going to sponsor you. Or then the guys will say, oh, okay, fine. We send our proposal there. Okay, I've seen you on TV before. You were playing, you have some good players. We would like to come on board. And that is how come the money will come. And then you are going to enjoy. Some of us have used our personal monies, guys like Sakina, Yemo Crazy, they've been helping Layoka. And other clubs also have been facing the same challenges. But then they also have their area men, which you call the big businessmen in the area, who have been pulling them up to get to the stage that they are now. So it is the motivation for my team is to get into the national team. And that's how come I get the players to play every weekend.
Motivating the players to get into the national team is good. But it gets to a point where just beyond, intrinsic motivation might not be good enough. Like you said, you make a lot of expenses on match days, up to 3,000.
Yes.
You mentioned, for how long can you continue doing this?
For how long? I know people think it's a risk investing in it.
It's a big risk for me.
Yes, it's a big risk. But Carbanga started. So we are urging every institution.
40,000 to be shared over 10 teams.
10 clubs in about 18 weeks. It's just a small money. But then we thank them because they've been able to give us a stepping stone. That's why we are asking other institutions, other organizations, other companies to come to board. Vortic is also helping us with water every weekend. Gives us a sachet and box water because we need the water on field. Playing in the sun is not a joke. So every break you see the players going for the water, squashing on them, drinking some, because they need that energy to play. So Vortic and Carbang have come. Hey, the rest out there, we are asking that you also get involved so that beach soccer will be our number one in the country.
Niboni, who is the acting PR of the Ghana Beach Soccer Association, on what the sport is doing to make sure that they secure qualification for the African, slot and hopefully make it to the World Cup for beach soccer. We change sports now and then look at the sport of boxing because yesterday the various committees of the Ghana Boxing Authority were sworn in at the Accra Sports Stadium, but there are underlying issues that the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority sought to clarify concerning the performance of officials in in the ring. Referee Roger Bano, we are told, has been placed on some kind of a suspension. Let's have a listen to GBA President Lawyer Peter Zwenes.
A lot of work to be done. As you can see, we have created some new committees as well, with marketing and sponsorship, as well as finance. And for me, marketing and sponsorship is the key. The conventional ones are there: promotions, ratings, disciplinary, legal, medical, welfare.
Ouch.
But we need to move boxing beyond the point it is. We did say in the run-up to the elections, I think all the contestants were talking about how to rebrand boxing so that we can attract all the major stakeholders and sponsors, just like football is doing, and then take care of the numerous demands on the sport. So there's a lot of work to be done, and that is what we are trying to do now. As you may have read or heard, the board summoned some of the persons involved in these controversies last week to a meeting. Ordinarily, that should have been the work of the disciplinary committee, but because we hadn't formally inaugurated it, we decided the board should do that. Under the Constitution, the board has powers to do that by itself. And so we dealt with Referee Roger Bano's issue, and we suspended him indefinitely pending the outcome of a report by the review committee. We also fined Emmanuel Tego as well as Michael Ansah for the late entry into the ring. So at least it should tell you that we will not countenance these acts of indiscipline. And I believe that it had some ripple effect, because you could see at the last promotion when Bukum Banku fought Tedashvili that when the master of ceremonies announced for the boxers to come into the ring, they came in promptly. So we think that it's biting, and these are one of the things we want to do.
Lawyer Peter Zwenes is very clear, very emphatic on the committees that have been set up to help around the Ghana Boxing Authority, especially the marketing and finance department, and of course the actions of officials and boxers. Lawyer stating clearly that they're not impressed with the performance of referee Roger Bano in the bouts between Emmanuel Tego and Ronald Pontias from Philippines, and he's been suspended indefinitely. And then, of course, that of the boxers as well, who fail to respond to the call of the MCs to get into the bouts. Some take literally forever to get into the ring, and that clearly is not acceptable. One other big name in boxing was also at the event yesterday, Eddie Papu. He also had a stake on some of these issues.
One particular case, and you cannot, judge all the officials by one bad day, for one of the ring officials. I think we have very competent ring officials here, and we keep upgrading ourselves. So I think things will be okay. You have no fears at all. We've put some sanctions already out for those who were indisciplined. Like the referee who committed those mistakes, and then the boxer who refused to come to the ring. I think the sanctions have been placed on them, and I think we are moving towards the right direction.
Eddie Papu clearly not happy with the performance of officials. Of course, he is a WBC certified judge, and he clearly not happy with the way things are done in the sport. Hopefully we'll get to speak to Frank Awuku of the Greater Accra Hockey Association as well to discuss the team's impending hockey trip abroad, and the hockey team, we understand, have been camping for the last couple of weeks, and we just hope that they can go to put some smiles and glory on Ghana. We'll do a round of commercials at this point. We'll be back. Let's move over to the continent now and get to pick up some stories. And Mohamed Yusuf, we're told, is the new Al Ali manager. Now, Al Ali have installed Mohamed Yusuf as coach until the end of the season, following Hussam El Badari's resignation. Now, Yusuf, 42, was El Badari's assistant and has never taken charge of the senior team. El Badri announced on Monday that he was leaving the reigning African champions to take over Libyan side Al Ali Tripoli. His decision came hours after he led the Egyptian side to the group stages of the Champions League with a 2-1 win over Tunisia's CA Bezitin on Sunday. It brings an end to his second spell in charge of the club that he played for in 9 years. The Egyptian season ends in June. Still on the continent, and TP Mazembe have switched coach Lamine Ndiaye from his role as a coach to the position of technical director. Now, the former Senegal coach tendered his resignation after the VRC club were knocked out of the African Champions League by Orlando Pirates on Sunday. But Mazembe owner Maurice Katumbi rejected the resignation and instead redeployed Ndiaye. Now, as well as searching for a new coach, Katumbi has embarked on restructuring of the club that will include the formation of the sports committee after he suspended the current members. From the camp of Tupisa Mazembe, we go into the camp of the Super Eagles. And Nigerian striker Emmanuel Emenike has said Nigeria will shine at next month's FIFA Confederations Cup as well as the 2014 World Cup qualifiers even without him. Now, Emenike has been ruled out of the hectic summer schedule that will see the Eagles play 2 World Cup qualifiers in Kenya and Malawi, as well as feature in the FIFA Confederations Cup in Brazil. Now, the Spartak Moscow player has not played for Nigeria since he suffered a hamstring injury in the semi-final of the 2013 African Cup of Nations against Mali. He's now suffered a knee injury which will keep him out for at least 6 weeks. And still staying in Nigeria, and former Super Eagles coach Shaibu Amadu has been appointed technical director of the Nigerian national teams. Well, very interesting appointment in there for the Nigerians. And the 55-year-old who had previously managed the national team on 4 different occasions will be assisted by Kashimao Laloko and James Peters. As part of his brief, Amadou would oversee the country's national teams for every age group. Now, the choice of Amadou has not come as a surprise after the NFF shelved plans to appoint Belgian Tom Saintfiet as the country's technical director in June 2012. Nigerian sports minister Bolaji Abdullahi hinted that was felt there were many competent Nigerians with strong knowledge of grassroots football in the country who were better suited for the role of technical director. Now, meanwhile, the NFF also assured Nigerians that it's working hard in harmony with coach Stephen Keshi to ensure Nigeria qualify for the World Cup finals in Brazil next year, as well as to perform well in the Confederations Cup, also coming up in Brazil in June. And they're still staying with Nigeria. They have made a U-turn on the qualifying for the CHAN in 2014. Nigeria will compete in the 2014 African Nations Championship qualifiers in June. Now, the Nigerian National Team Federation announced in April that it was withdrawing the team from the qualifiers in order to cut costs. Now, but the West Africans now play Ivory Coast in a 2-legged qualifier in Calabar in June for a place in next year's finals in South Africa. Nigeria, who are the reigning African champions, have failed to qualify for the tournament on 2 previous occasions. Now, football is a sport that a lot of people love, but for Malawian striker Gabadino in Hango, well, it's turning out to be something of a nightmare for him. This is because exam is going to stop him from playing for his country. Now, Malawi striker Gabadino Mahangu has been ruled out of the World Cup qualifiers against Namibia and Kenya because he has to take his school exams. Now, the 19-year-old will be sitting his junior certificate examination in June, so is unavailable for the home ties against Namibia on the 5th of the month and against Kenya a week later in Blantyre. In March, Mihangu passed a football test with flying colours when he scored a winner as the Flames beat Namibia by a lone goal in Windhoek in a World Cup qualifier, and is currently enjoying top form, having scored 2 goals in Big Bullets' 2 opening games of the new league season. His absence will be keenly felt by Malawi, who trailed Nigeria on goal difference in Group F, with both sides tied on 5 points. Let's move over to Europe now. And, Manchester United are already champions in the English Premier League. But the biggest talk, of course, has been around setting Sir Alex Ferguson and his decision to retire from the club. David Moyes has also become the new manager. He's been named on a 6-year contract to take over the Reds. And, of course, the English FA Cup final is also coming up later this weekend between Wigan and Manchester City. Well, we're building up to the FA Cup final coming up tomorrow. It's going to be Wigan and Manchester City. City going for a third successive trophy in 3 years. They won the FA Cup 2 years ago. They were Premier League champions last season, and they're looking forward to adding another trophy into their cabinet. Let's look at matches coming up in the English Premier League later this weekend. So there you have them. Aston Villa are up against Chelsea. Stoke will play Tottenham Hotspurs. Everton will play West Ham United, and that's going to be David Moyes' last home game of the season, and I'm sure he's going to be getting one hell of an applause at the Goodison Park. Fulham are up against Liverpool. Norwich City will be playing West Bromwich Albion. Queen's Park Rangers, who are relegated at this point, will be playing Newcastle United. Sunderland will play Southampton. In this game between Manchester United and Swansea, it's going to be live here on Joy Sports on Multi-TV come Sunday, where we'll probably get to see Sir Alex Ferguson saying his goodbyes to the faithfuls at the Old Trafford Stadium for all that they've done for him in his 26, 27 years in charge of the Reds. Let's get to see matches that are coming up in the Spanish La Liga. Football Club Barcelona could be declared champions this weekend. All they have to do is to get a result against Atletico Bilbao, and they are champions. Real Madrid will be playing earlier in the day. Levante will be playing Real Zaragoza. Athletic Bilbao will play Mallorca. Real Valladolid will play Deportivo La Coruña. Osasuna will play Getafe. Espanyol will play Real Madrid. Rayo Vallecano will play Valencia. Real Betis will play Celta Vigo. The biggest game, of course, would be the game between Atletico Madrid and Football Club Barcelona, and Malaga will play Sevilla. From Spain, we go over to Italy, and again, we'll get to see matches coming up in the Italian Serie A. Juventus, who are champions, will be playing Cagliari. Fiorentina will play Palermo. Chievo Verona will play Torino. Genoa will play Internazionale. Lazio will play Sampdoria. Napoli will play Siena. Udinese will play Atalanta. Parma will play Bologna. And Milan will take on Roma, and the biggest game of the Italian Serie A weekend. Let's go over to Germany now and get to see matches that are going to be coming up in the German Bundesliga, where again Bayern Munich are champions. So Bayer Leverkusen will play Hannover 96. Bayern Munich will play FC Augsburg. Fortuna Düsseldorf will play Nuremberg. Mainz will play Borussia Mönchengladbach. Schalke will play VfB Stuttgart. Greuther Fürth will play Freiburg. TSG Hoffenheim will play Hamburg. VfL Wolfsburg will play Borussia Dortmund. And Werder Bremen will play Eintracht Frankfurt. Take some text messages at this point. This one says Kumasi Asante Kotoko must be severely punished to have routed once again. To become a champion should not be through foul means. This is coming from John Senanu in Peze in the Volta region. Can Arsenal be in the top 4? This is by Rufai Gattuso in Agona Swedro. Is Boateng coming back? Kwesi in Akosoma. I'm sure you're referring to Kevin Prince Boateng. Kotoko should stop all this. They have to remember at Genfi Park, it will be to score 2 at the end. This is coming from Naposo. Is David Villa moving to Arsenal? This is from Kinsley. Well, I can't confirm that, but we'll get to see which players get to stay and which players get to move. And this brings us to the end of the final edition of Sports Today this week. And next week, Monday, will be the next stop for the program. Thanks to the entire Joy Sports production team for making this show possible. Thanks for watching, and you stay with this channel if you can. Bye-bye.